Hello everyone, welcome back to the 20 Dolph channel, and this is the 2018 Volkswagen Golf GTI Mark 7.5. And what I'm going to be doing in this video is doing a complete overview of this car, so driving it, what's under the bonnet, everything else about this car you're going to see in this video. So let's get into it. Start off at the front, where obviously this is a pretty much fully optioned car. So you've got these nice little headlights here, the LED headlights with really cool daytime running lights. Makes this car look really aggressive. I know overseas you can get the halogen headlights on this car, but in Australia you're only able to option it with the LEDs, which is really good because it makes every single GTI on the road very aggressive. The center of the grille, you've got your radar cruise control, which is integrated into the badge, which looks really nice and sleek, and the whole front end is just really aggressive to look at. You've got your little fog lights hidden in the side here, and this is actually my brother's car, so he has these little pinstripes, these white pinstripes along the side here, and actually it looks pretty good on it. It suits the car very well, and I think it looks really good from the front end. Moving on to the side of the GTI, of course, you've got your GTI badge on the front little fender here, and the rest of the car, the rest of the side of the car actually just looks like a regular Golf. They usually do. You've got your little side skirt down the bottom there, side skirts around the entirety of the car, which I think just adds enough flair just to make it look a little bit more distinct than a regular Golf. And I just think it looks really good on the car. It suits the car really well. The thing my brother did do is put this little vinyl on the rear here. Obviously this car's fitted with a sunroof, so it helps blend the rest of the roof together, and I think it looks really good over the standard kind of just front section being a sunroof and the rest is body colored. This kind of makes it look much more sleek and makes the roof of the car look really nice. I really prefer it over the standard look on these cars. Of course, it being a modern 7.5, it's got keyless entry and exit and all of that stuff, and it's also got power fold mirrors too, which is very nice. You've got these lovely 18-inch wheels at the front here. I forget the name of what they're actually called, but they look really good. They slightly revised it for the 7.5 over the 7, so I can't remember the name on the 7 wheels, but they look really good on the 7.5. They added a little bit extra just to make it a little bit nicer to look at, and yeah, I think the design of the wheels is really nice. Let's move around to the rear of the Golf GTI Mark 7.5, and of course the exhaust tips are the most noticeable thing here. So they did slightly make them a little bit bigger over the Mark 7, making them a little bit more distinct, and I think it looks awesome. You've also got this little diffuser piece thing here at the bottom, nice little bit of trim, and I think it looks really good. But apart from that, you've got your GTI badge there. You've got these revised tail lights for the 7.5, which look really nice and suit the car so well. Huge upgrade over the standard Golf Mark 7 lights, and I think it suits the car really well. Also with the GTI, you do get these little side blade things there, and it looks really nice. It suits the car very well. That is not a factory thing, that's something my brother threw on the car, so it doesn't, I don't like it. I should probably also explain, this car is currently up for sale. Yeah, the car is listed at 24 grand, come with cash, and the car's yours for 24. It's actually listed at 25.5, but bring 24k cash, and we'll do a little special. Maybe give you a discount if you watch the video, who knows. What's done to the exhaust on this car, it's pretty much a stock car, stock suspension, everything. The only real modification that has been done to this car is a resonator delete. Very typical GTI mod, just adds a little bit more exhaust tone, I suppose, and it sounds really good. So I'll start it up and give it a little rev. Delete is pretty much all you need to make this car sound really good, and I think the exhaust tone is quite nice. The standard exhaust, it's just a little bit too quiet, but res delete just allows this car to sound pretty much as it should. When it left the factory, it really should have sounded like this, but anyway, that's what it is. So what we will do now is pop the bonnet and take a look what's under there. So under the bonnet of the Mark 7.5 GTI, you will find the infamous Gen 3 EA888, and this is actually a very good engine, as I've obviously shown with my Mark 7 Golf R. and even my 6C Polo GTI, all variants of the EA888 Gen 3, and they're just really, really good engines. They do have their inherent flaws, like, cam magnets. Timing chains aren't too much of an issue. Oil consumption's a big one. But yeah, I mean, that's really all you have to look. And water pumps. Water pumps is, of course, the infamous Volkswagen issue of the day, but everything else seems to be fine with these engines relatively. If you tune them, obviously you're going to have more problems, but as a standard package, they're actually not too bad. You do get oil leaks from this sump pan as well, because that is a plastic piece, so the sump pans will often leak, but you can retrofit it with a Mark 8, I suppose, sump pan, which is, they've gone back to the metal ones finally. So at least that's a positive. Of course, you've got your IS20 at the back there, and I mean, it's a pretty good turbo. You can IS38 swap them, but pushing a ridiculous amount of power in a Mark 7 GTI, 7.5 GTI, it just makes no sense because it's front wheel drive, obviously. You're better off putting big power into a Golf R with all wheel drive, so it just makes a little bit more sense, because even stock, this car likes to spin up the wheels. So just I'd recommend maybe putting a stage 1 plus, I don't know, doing a little bit of power modification to this car, but you don't have to go crazy, because ultimately you're not going to be able to ever really use the power. Pretty much it for the engine bay. I mean, they're relatively okay. I mean, they're just standard Volkswagen. You are going to have problems if you own one, but this one's actually been okay. It's got 143,000 Ks on the car, and it's still a pretty good engine. So what we should do now is move into the interior. Inside, of course, you're greeted with this lovely leather wrapped steering wheel, which is one of the nicest steering wheels I think Volkswagen have offered. It is a little bit tame for my liking. I would have liked it if they made it a little bit more similar to the Mark 5 GTI or R32 steering wheel. This one, it's nice. It's very presentable. It's a very nice steering wheel, but yeah, it's, I don't know. It just feels like it should be a little bit more. It's too plain of a steering wheel, if you can understand what I mean. But it's still a very nice steering wheel. It's very nice to hold. Obviously, you've got all your controls on the steering wheel here. The volume button down has stopped working on this particular car. It's a pretty uncommon issue from what I've heard, but yeah, this car's obviously suffering from it. So that's fine. I've owned many Volkswagens with this generation of steering wheel, and not once have I ever had this drama. So I think this is a very isolated issue. I mean, that's fine. That's easy enough to replace. It's not the end of the world. The only option this car has really missed out on is the sound and vision package, which comes with the Dynaudio sound system and the digital display, and also the larger navigation screen here. So obviously this car's missed out on it, but everything else it has. So obviously the standard displays look all right. You got that and that. Obviously this MIB2 system is much better looking and works a lot better than the MIB1 that you would find in the Mark 7. So yeah, you can. The dash cam in this car is so annoying. You can actually retrofit the MIB2 to the Mark 7. It's a very popular thing that people like to do, but honestly, yeah, it's a really good upgrade over the MIB1 if you are looking to retrofit this into a Mark 7. But yeah, it works really, really well, and I'm quite a fan of it. Looking around the interior, obviously you have your ambient lighting strips on the front two doors here, and the trim pieces here are in little hexagonal shapes. Of course, Volkswagen are very nice with their attention to detail, so the hexagonal shapes, obviously the GTI signature, I suppose, shape. And obviously it's around the steering wheel, the airbag cover as well, and your horn. So that's very nice to see. Moving down, obviously you got the 3 pedals at the bottom, just like it should be. And I mean, there's not very much going on in the interior. You've got this red stitching. This car is optioned with the leather seats, and this actually, the driver's seat has a memory setting as well, and it's electric. The seat cover on the passenger seat, I would remove it, but it's just a pain to get back on, so I'm gonna leave that there. Now past the infotainment system, which works really, really well, as I described earlier. It's very fluid, and I would say probably the best infotainment system in this segment, and I really can't complain about it. Some people do have issues with the Apple CarPlay connectivity and Bluetooth dropping out, but I have never ever experienced that on any MIB systems. I mean, it's a very common complaint, but I've never personally experienced it. Moving down past that, you've got your little aircon controls here and your heated seats settings here as well. Aircon obviously down there. You can retrofit it with, I suppose, Mark 8 stuff as well, so it's all digital, but this works fine, so I don't really know why you'd want to do that. Little cover here. Obviously you've got your little USB port down there, and this right here is an infamous Mark 7 drama. So the little trim piece around the shift knob will actually start to peel. DSG or manual, it will peel, and it is razor sharp. It is so sharp, and it's a very common problem. So you will often find yourself cutting your fingers and stuff on that. I think Volkswagen did offer a recall for it. So obviously this car hasn't had the recall performed because it's peeling, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst thing ever. And something I've always loved about the Mark 7s is the fact they shaped the manual shifter like an actual golf ball. It's hilarious, and I do love it. And the shifter on this car feels really nice for a standard shifter as well. So no complaints about the shifter experience whatsoever. It's very nice to hold in the hand, and it fits around your hand very nicely. It's very comfortable. Moving next to that, you've got your drive mode select buttons here. You've got your auto start stop off and the traction button as well. You've got your automatic parking feature there and your parking sensor button there. Auto start stop button there. And moving down, you've got your little storage cubby there. Sorry, the car is a bit filthy. I gave it a little bit of a wash this morning, but obviously this car gets driven all the time, so it's going to be pretty filthy. You've got your electronic park brake there, auto hold, 12-volt socket, and a little storage area under the armrest here. And I mean, that's pretty much it for the interior. This car does have a sunroof. They do have a known issue for creaking. This car suffers from it. My Mark 7 suffers from it. My GTI suffers from it. My 6C Polo GTI. So it is a known issue with these sunroofs. They also can develop cracks down the side because it is a plastic trim piece around the top there. So that's just something to look out for if you are planning on buying one. But you can just fix the creaking by tilting the sunroof. That's why I always tilt the sunroof just so it doesn't creak, because with it shut, it just creaks away, and it pretty much affects all the cars. If the car you're looking at hasn't got the issue, it will at some point. It will affect the car. So look, that's just, it is what it is. You're just going to have to live with it. Maintain the sunroof drains as well, because they will clog at some point. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So that's just something to look out for with pretty much all Volkswagen sunroof drains in general. The drainage channels are very narrow and they get clogged super easily. So just be on the lookout for that. Other things, I've obviously heard that a lot of people whinge about the power steering on these cars, but in OBD11 even, you can change how the steering feels. Even putting lowering springs on the car, I find that the steering feels much heavier after that too. So if light steering's a concern for you, just throw it on lowering springs or plug an OBD11 in, play around with the settings, because you can tighten the steering. I hear a lot of people go on about how light the steering is, but I just don't think they realize that you can actually change it. There is a way to change it. There's a way to change a lot of stuff with how the car works. Volkswagens are very customizable. If you plug in an OBD11 or use VCDS, you can change a lot of the things with them, which is really good. It's a very positive thing for Volkswagens in general. Moving around to the rear, you don't really have much in there. The seats are very nicely designed. They've got these nice little perforations all around, which is very nice, and the red stitching as well, and pipelining. So that's all nice and good. But other than that, it's a regular Golf interior. It is a regular Golf interior. So look, I'm pretty much done talking about the car, so I think we should go and take it for a drive. Okay, so here we are in the Mark 7.5 Golf GTI, and I've got super glue all over my fingers because for the last 2 hours I've been trying to find a decent solution to my setup, because I'm not going to get started on it. Okay, so we're going to start the car off. Let's do it in comfort mode. Windows up maybe, just to get an idea of how it sounds inside. I also forgot to mention with the MIB2 system, is that a, yo, we've got an ES300 behind us. How good's that? With the 7.5 with MIB2, you get a performance monitor, so I can monitor the performance of the car. So how good's that? So yeah, driving along, initial impressions is, well, it feels like a Golf. It feels like how a Volkswagen should drive. You'd expect a Volkswagen to drive like this. They all feel very similar. That's the good thing about Volkswagens. Kind of, no matter what Volkswagen you get into, they all feel pretty much the same to drive, but in a good way. So the steering wheel position's nice. The seat is in a really nice position as well. So you gets up and goes pretty quick. So I did forget to mention, this car produces, I think it's about 185 kilowatts, and I think it's about 340-ish newton meters of torque. So yeah, I'm sure it's around there. Like, don't quote me on that exactly, but it'll be around there. And yeah, this car gets up and moves bloody quickly as well. So ignore my awful shifting, but yeah, it gets up and goes, and it sounds so good as well. So yeah, obviously with a full catback system, downpipes, everything, you can make these things sound like absolute fart machines, as I was mentioning in the Golf R review. But a res delete, that's pretty much all you need. And obviously if you get the DSG, you'll get the DSG farts as well, but this being a manual, you don't have that. So yeah, whether or not you like the DSG farts, it's purely down to preference. And I mean, the manual overall is a much more engaging drive, because I know a lot of people say, they go on and on, oh, Golfs are really boring, they're really conservative. The issue is they're always driving automatics, so obviously an automatic car is always going to be less engaging than a manual. So manual GTI, it really is the way to go. So look, like I was mentioning before, this car is on the market, and if you said that you watched the video, look, it's off for 25.5. You said you watched the video, automatically comes down to 24, and maybe we can work something out as well, but no lowball offers obviously. Car's still got a warranty on it as well. It's got a 3-year warranty, so that covers all the important stuff, especially the water pump. 143,000 Ks, always serviced a Volkswagen. Sorry, I'm turning this into a bit of a promotion, am I? Look, I'm going to link the car down below, so if you're interested in this car, you can go to the link and we'll hook you up with a good price, yeah? Driving it along in sport mode, it's just so dynamically capable. Seriously, the differentials on these cars, they created a really smart electronic diff for the Mk7 performance, and it pretty much allows you to throw this car into the corner as hard as you want, and somehow it'll compose itself really, really well. It's a very smart system, and as standard with the 7.5s, they threw that diff into all the 7.5s. So this car has that differential, and seriously, it's got to be one of the most incredibly handling front-wheel drive cars I've ever driven. It feels so capable. As soon as you find a corner, you just throw it in, and you just know you'll make it out the other side. So it's perfect for P-platers who can't drive properly. But no, seriously, it is such a brilliant car to drive. I don't know why everyone goes on about, oh, these cars are boring, these cars are boring. Sure, stock exhaust, everything, if you're driving it at granny speeds, of course it's going to be boring. Most cars are. As soon as you open it up though, even with it obviously it being pretty much stock, it's just so capable. And that's why I love these GTIs, Rs, everything. Volkswagens, for me, they just do everything right. No matter the car, Volkswagen just nail everything for me, personally. And I know everyone goes, oh, get a Focus ST or something like that. It's like, well, the Focus ST's got a terrible interior. Yeah, you might get a little bit more driving pleasure out of it, but it depends what you're after personally in a car. And these cars are so tunable. You can do so much with these. You plug in a computer for half an hour, and there you go. You've got 100 more horsepower than you did. You can get so much power out of them, but obviously, it being front-wheel drive, it is limited by physics. So, yeah. If you want to push big power in a Golf, get a Golf R. Obviously, you got all-wheel drive, and you can get Holdex controllers as well. So, you can change how the car responds to power and enable all-wheel drive all the time if you want, because that car's got a part-time all-wheel drive. But back to the GTI. So, yeah, I mean, I can't floor it. It's seriously, it's such a nice car to drive and daily. Like Seb, he dailies this car. He loves it. The only reason he's selling it is to buy an R32 though. So, I mean, yeah, it's a really, really nice car. Just the way it drives. The way it drives is so good. And if you do ever have problems with it, water pump, everything, Look, I'm not sponsored, but I'm just saying, take it to the boys at Carbon Auto House. Tell them Alex sent you. Because no, Sean and the guys, they're absolute legends. They'll look after you. So seriously, Volkswagen, Audi, if you've got problems, take it to Carbon. They'll sort you out real well. But what are my closing thoughts on the Mk7.5 GTI? Well, the conclusion's going to be the same as pretty much every other video, because I mainly review Volkswagens, and the verdict with Volkswagens is always go get one. No matter who you are, this car serves a purpose for everyone. It's practical, it's fun to drive, it's very comfortable. These seats, the leather interior is so comfortable on this car. So is the Titan interior, but personally for me, I love the leather interior. You've got really nice bolstering on the seats as well. The sound system is amazing, even though this isn't even the Dyne Audio sound system. The sound quality and the bass, it's so good. I think that's why you always see GTI owners pulling around, right, with the music on full blast, because the speakers in this car are just incredible. Volkswagen do amazing things with standard speakers, so no, I really do recommend this car to anyone. It's just brilliant. Just expect, obviously, you're gonna have dramas with obviously water pump, PCV as well, just small little things, but it's just something to be wary of. But the trade-off is you get literally the best car in the segment, and I think a lot of people are willing to make that sacrifice, because you need a little bit of that in your life. You really, really do. So yeah, I think that about concludes my little review of the GTI. Sorry, it wasn't quite as professional as I'd liked it to be today. My setup's been a bit all over the place. It's been a very hectic filming day, to say the least. Yeah, that's really that. But thank you for watching the video. If you've got a car that you want me to review, hit me up on Instagram at 20dilf. I'll pretty much review anything. So yeah, I think the dash cam's also stupid in this car. They come included if you want to buy it. But yeah, that's going to be it for the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.